Hello, I'm Dr. Alan Gruning, and welcome to your Prescription for Health. Hello, I'm Dr. Alan Gruning, and welcome to your Prescription for Health. I am so glad that you joined me here today to share some time with me as I try to teach you about holistic health and healing. Just a little background about our show. For those of you that haven't been watching or you're joining me for the first time, our show's been on the air for about a month now. We're dedicated to providing the people of Southwest Florida with reliable information on holistic health and healing. In fact, we're the only TV show that's locally available with a doctor presenting this information to you. And a little bit of my background is I'm actually a holistic physician practicing in Fort Myers and in Port Charlotte. And my practice is dedicated to helping people with very complex medical problems. Fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and hormone imbalances and autoimmune disorders and things that the regular medical system has not been able to help people with. Traditional medical system has failed most of these people, and so they come to me and we're able to explore natural treatments, holistic natural treatments that will help them to get well and allow their body to heal. And so I'm going to try to present a lot of that important information to you over the coming months. We've had a great time so far on this show, interviewing guests and talking to you about the problems that we're facing here in America with our health and natural solutions that we can find to deal with those. I encourage you to go to my website, which is prescriptionforhealth.tv. It's taken me a while to get the site going, but it's got a lot of great information on it about me, about the show, about holistic health. There are links there to many resources that you can utilize to find out more information about how to get healthy. There's also information about our sponsors, which have been so generous to help me to be able to produce this show and get it on the air. Please learn more about them, thank them, support them. Medicine Shop in Port Charlotte, Metagenics, which is a great supplement company, and Shosai, the world's only healthy chocolate. And so I encourage you to learn more about them. Today, we're going to be trying to focus a little bit more on what we started on our last show. We were talking about some of the things in our treatment pyramid that we need to do to be able to get well. And we had talked a lot about nutrition. And we had talked last show about sleep and all the problems that we're facing in our country with people not sleeping. Do you know that the average person in this country is getting 6.5 hours sleep? In the turn of the 19th century, at 1900, people were getting 9 hours sleep. So we're getting 2.5 hours less sleep a night than people were 100 years ago. Well, what do you think that's done to the health of our bodies? That's one of the problems that we're having, is that we're all sleep deprived. And the result of that is that our bodies are going haywire hormonally, physically, and we have excessive daytime sedation. People are making mistakes, falling asleep at the wheel, causing accidents, disasters. There's all kinds of problems that have resulted from a sleep deprivation that we have, and we have to correct that. And so last show we began to talk about some of the things that you can do in terms of sleep hygiene to get better from that. You know, turning off all the stimulating media that you have in your home, video games, web browsing, the internet, movies that are hopping you up. And also, you know, things that you're doing at night that are stimulating you to stay awake. Anytime that you turn on the TV or the computer screen, that fluorescent glare or LED glare off that screen is telling your brain it's time to wake up. That's not the message you want to have prior to going to sleep at night. So you need to get in the habit of turning all those things off an hour before you go to sleep and beginning to wind down and to read. Reading is very calming for the brain, and it's very calming to your body. And then you have to put yourself in the right environment to sleep. You have to darken the room, get it very dark. In fact, in most homes, there are lots of different kinds of little lights that are on in your bedroom, little power lights. turn all those things off, cover them up, do whatever you have to do to make the room black, make the room cool, make it very dark, and make it very quiet. If necessary, put a mask over your eyes, put earplugs in, do whatever you have to do to make the room dark and quiet and comfortable so that you'll be able to go to sleep. And begin to wind down. And one of the things that I try to teach people to do prior to going to sleep is to pray. I think praying is very calming to the brain. It helps you to wind down your day as you're getting ready to try to go to sleep at night. So let's take a look at a couple of other things that are really important to this whole subject as we begin to look at holistic health in terms of stress reduction. You know, we live in a society of people that are stressed out. And we have to try to identify and eliminate those sources. Your source of stress may be your finances. Your source of stress may be your relationships. Your stress may be your work situation. Maybe you're working 2 or 3 jobs. There are numerous things that may be affecting your ability to deal with life. And those things are what we call stress. And those stresses can be physical, they can be emotional, could be health issues that you're dealing with that are stressing you out. And so we want to identify those sources of stress and anxiety, and we need to start reducing those. Well, how do you go about doing that? Well, that's easier said than done. So one of the things that you can do is to set boundaries. You just have to say no. You know, I think we live in a world where basically everybody is saying yes to everything and you're afraid to say no. I had to learn a long time ago that I had to start prioritizing my time and learning to say no to things. Some of those things are good things. You know, some of those things look really like excellent things that you should be doing for your family, the community, but at some point you have to create some margin in your life. You have to start carving out some time for you, where you can spend reading a good book, you can spend reading the Bible, you can spend some time walking on the beach, talking to God, whatever it is that you can do to start to create some calm and margin in your life so that you're not constantly doing, busy all the time. So that stress and anxiety can be removed if you start creating boundaries and just learning to say no. You know, somehow our kids learn how to say this. You know, it seems like the first thing they learn how to say, the first word they say is no. You know, I don't know how they learn to say that, but clearly we need to get better as adults at learning to say no to people. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't have the time for that. No, I know that that's a good thing to do, but I need to have more time with my family. We have to learn how to create boundaries and say no. What are some other things that we can do with dealing with stress reduction? Well, I love this verse in the Bible, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Let me read it for you really quick. Be anxious for nothing. Doesn't say be anxious for some things or little things. No, be anxious for nothing. Well, that sounds easier said than done. Well, Paul goes on to say how that's going to happen. It says, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all comprehension, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. You know, Paul gives us a wonderful solution here for anxiety and stress. He says, you know what? Instead of worrying about all this stuff and fretting and you know, about everything that's going on with your life, let's do the following. First of all, I want you to present your worries to God in prayer. And I want you to be thankful for not what you don't have, but what you do have. So learn to be thankful and to give it over to the Lord and to let Him take care of it. And it says if you're willing to do that, then that peace of God will come into your life that you're lacking. That's a wonderful solution, and I hope that you all take that to heart. Meditation, biofeedback, exercise, all of these things are useful for reducing stress. I like growing orchids. Actually, my orchids are not doing very well right now, but I love growing orchids. I find that very stress relieving. Gardening can be a wonderful tool to help channel some stress. There are some calming supplements that you can take. This is some recommendations from a book called The Chemistry of Calm by Dr. Henry Emmons. I love his work. These are things that I use in my practice with patients to help them to calm down. One of them is theanine, which is an extract from green tea, and 100 to 200 milligrams of that 2 or 3 times a day. Theanine actually increases the level of a calming neurotransmitter in your brain called GABA, and it also increases dopamine levels, which make you feel good. Tryptophan, which you all probably have had some experience with if you've had a big turkey meal. You know that after Thanksgiving you want to just lay down and go to sleep. Well, that's from all the tryptophan in the turkey. And so you can actually get that in a capsule form. 500 to 1,000 milligrams of that twice a day will help to generate more serotonin, and serotonin is one of the calming neurotransmitters. Taurine, which is an amino acid, 500 milligrams twice a day, will help to balance the neurotransmitters in your brain between the excitatory ones and the inhibitory ones so that you're able to calm down. Rhodiola, which is a herb that actually is called an adaptogen, which helps your body adapt to stress, 250 milligrams twice a day. Rhodiola actually has an interesting history. Rhodiola was actually developed by the Russian military, and they give it to all of their soldiers to help them adapt to stress so that their adrenal glands don't suffer disease and dysfunction because of all the stress that soldiers are normally under. And so rhodiola can be a powerful agent for you to help to adapt to stress. And then there's another medicine called inositol, which 500 to 1,000 milligrams of that twice a day has been well studied and helps with panic and anxiety. Now let's get into the subject of eliminating toxins, because we live in an extremely toxic environment. And what are some of the major toxins that we're dealing with in this country? Well, clearly the biggest that I deal with in my practice are tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. If you're involved with any of those three things, none of the other stuff I'm doing on this show is going to help you if you don't get off of your tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. Clearly these things are poisoning your body, and they have to go. Now, I know that's easier said than done, and I work with all my patients to try to figure out ways to get off of cigarettes and off of alcohol. You need help with that. It's hard to do it yourself, but I suggest that you start looking into ways to get those things out of your life. Otherwise, none of the other things that we're talking about for holistic health are going to help you. There are numerous other toxins that we're dealing with in our country. Goitrogens. And goitrogens are things that are very toxic to your thyroid gland. And I've identified the three biggies here, which are called chlorine, fluoride, and bromine. So where do we find these goitrogens? Well, goitrogens are competing in your thyroid gland for iodine, which you need to make thyroid hormone. Without thyroid hormone, your whole body falls apart. That's one of the major controlling things in your body is thyroid hormone, cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and insulin, which comes from your pancreas. And so those three things control everything. And so if your thyroid is not working right, you feel terrible. And the three things that are competing in your thyroid gland to make thyroid hormone are chlorine, fluoride, and bromine. So where do you get chlorine from? Well, it's in your water. I mean, go ahead and test your tap water and see what the chlorine level is. It's probably the same as it is in your pool, and you're drinking that into your body, and it's not good for you. Where do you get fluoride from? Well, that's in your water too. Why is it that all of the European countries, for the most part, are banning the use of fluoride from their water supplies, and the United States still has it? Fluoride is a known toxin, and you're drinking it all the time. It's also in your toothpaste. So start using non-fluoridated toothpaste. And bromine is in the flour. It's in wheat flour. It's a decaking agent in wheat flour. So if you get rid of all the wheat, as we've talked about before, you won't have this problem. But if you haven't done so yet, get all the wheat flour out of your life, because bromine is directly toxic to your thyroid gland. So you have to drink the right kind of water, either reverse osmosis or distilled water. You have to get rid of all the fluoride, which is in the water, but also your toothpaste. And you have to get rid of the bromine, which is in all the wheat flour. Otherwise, your thyroid gland will suffer damage. We'll come back to talking more about toxins here in a moment. First, I want to go to our sponsors and have you watch some information about each of them. And I pray that you'll support them and thank them for doing the work of putting this show on the air. We'll be right back. Medicine Shop Pharmacy has been serving Charlotte County for 27 years with the same owner and pharmacist, Wayne Wallace. They offer the personalized service of a small-town pharmacy, but the buying power of a large chain to keep prices low. Medicine Shop specializes in compounding medication, which means custom making them for each patient, including bioidentical hormones. They even have free delivery. Medicine Shop is located on US 41 in Port Charlotte. Call them at 941-627-9855. Metagenics is a worldwide supplement company that offers better health through nutrition and lifestyle medicine. Its high-quality products are designed to help doctors and healthcare professionals offer safe, effective, and more natural approaches to their patients. Metagenics is an industry leader in metabolic detoxification, something we all need because of our toxic environment. They also have numerous supplements to treat illness and maintain health. Metagenics products are only available through healthcare practitioners. To find the one closest to you, go to their website at metagenics.com.